Good evening, Zimbabwe. Welcome to Livetalk, The Connection, a platform where we discuss issues affecting young people. We are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. This Tuesday, March the 28th, 2023. I am Tungamili Nkomo. Tonight, we are focusing on a report by the global human rights campaigner Amnesty International, which paints a grim picture of the human rights situation in Zimbabwe. This as the country prepares for elections later this year. The 2022-2023 Amnesty International report makes an assessment of the situation in 156 countries, concluding that, quote, across the world, authorities continued their heavy-handed repression of universal freedoms. A similar conclusion was drawn by the U.S. State Department in its own evaluation of Zimbabwe and other world countries last week. But first, a quick update on the ZANU-PF elections. Supporters and candidates who ran in the weekend polls, described by many as chaotic, are still waiting for official results after many complained of vote rigging and irregularities. Many party heavyweights lost, while thousands complained they were denied the right to vote. Litshona njani Zimbabwe omuhle, siyahlangana kuhlelo lwabasakhulayo olwe The Connection. Namuhla sixoxa ngogwalo olwethulwe yi-Amnesty International namuhla. Yona ethi uhulumende weZimbabwe uqhubeka esephula amalungelo kaZulu. Uhulumende weMelika wethule ugwalo olufanayo ngeviki edluleyo. Kodwa singakangeni lapho sizakhangela okwenzakalayo kuZANU-PF kulandela ukhetho lwama-primaries osoluphehle ukufuthelana okukhulu kuleli bandla. Kwaziwa ibatereri be-Studio 7 na nasi muchirongwache Live Talk, The Connection. Tiri kutarisa gwaro ra buritswa nasi nesangano rinorwira kodzero dzevanhu pasi rose re Amnesty International. Iro riri kupomera hurumende yeZimbabwe mhosva yekuramba ichityora kodzero dzevanhu. America yakaburitsa gwaro rinoratidza zvimwe chete svondo rapfuura. Asi tisati tapinda munyaya iyoyo, timbotarisa zviri kuitika muZANU-PF zvichitevera sarudzo dzebato iri dzema-primaries idzo dzakonzera boaboa mubato iri. As ZANU-PF party members wait for official results, many are still complaining of rigging and being denied to vote after their names were allegedly not found in the party's registers. The situation was pronounced in Bulawayo, where our reporter Ezra Chisaspanda spoke to party member Melusi Moyo, who complains his preferred candidate who cared about disabled people was barred from contesting.
We are not very happy as disabled people in the way how the names were swept away. The names as one of a very good icon who were looking forward for his contesting also in the battle of election voting, which is our Dr. Masuku, who also contributes timely and every time to people who are disabled, as well as also the liberation struggle, the war veterans. And we don't know who authorized that to move his name away to be also participating for the contesting. Are
you in ZANU-PF yourself?
Currently, for my own information, yes, I am.
And then
I'm a veteran ZANU-PF. I'm a legend. And
so basically you did these primaries because you wanted to choose the best candidates. And
yes.
Now your candidate, his name was removed.
His name was moved by one of the one of the notorious, and I don't know who gave him the post which doesn't belong to him.
That was ZANU-PF supporter Melusi Moyo. He calls himself the legend, a veteran. U-Ezra uxoxe njalo lo mnumzana Dumezweni Ngwenya, omunye umsekeli we-ZANU-PF, yena othi umuntu akade emsekela walisiwe ukuncintisa.
Engibona kusenzakala angazi ukuthi kwenzakala kusifundisana ngoba kade sikunje uDr Masuku wafaka iCV yakhe, iCV went to Harare, iCV kaMasuku sezwa kuthiwa isibuyile. Kuthe sokusiyabizwa amabizo, ibizo lika Dr Masuku libizwa, and uMashaba was presiding that lokuze. The two even doctor stood up wambuza ukuthi kanti ngelami ibizo uhamba njani. uMashaba didn't explain. Ethi the back umlungisi vele sihambe emgwaqweni supporters campaigner, he came to Dr Masuku wathi mina ngiyimember ye-Central Committee, ingaze libuye kuphela iphepha lakho la ngizalikhipha kuphela. So we don't know ukuthi nxa usuku-Central Committee usuphakathi awusafuni ukuthi abanye bangene babuye ku-Central Committee ngoba wena uphakathi, awusafuni abanye abantu babuye ku-leadership. But as thina nxa sikhangele, we always hear uPresident Emmerson Mnangagwa sithi yena ZANU-PF is for the people. Wonke umuntu uyavunyelwa ukuya ku-ZANU-PF. Now ukubulawa ZANU-PF is for Mashaba and Mlungisi. So I don't know ukuthi thina basifundisani kusasa umlungisi lo Mashaba ukuthi sibe nokutsotsi, sibe izigebengu, sifundele ukuthi sibulale i-development. Because nxa sikhangele uDr Masuku, uNkulunkulu besilethela ingilosi to bring development in Bulawayo. Because mina nxa ngikhangele uMasuku ingilosi elethwe uNkulunkulu ukuthi izofaka i-development koBulawayo and bless uPresident Mnangagwa. Because uDr Masuku has got vision 2030 like our president. uMashaba nomlungisi they've got vision 2024 la with what they are doing.
So laba ngawukhangele laba ukuthi ke kwenza ukukhethwa laba abafunayo babenza ukuthi banqobe.
Okwenza ukuthi bayenze khona ukuba befuna ukuthi bona bangafaka abantu babo. Nxa sebesenza ukuthi phela sebetshontsha. Anti laba nabantu babekhona ku ground sebebavalele ukuthi bengabakhiphi ukutshontsha kwabo. They knew ukuthi kungangena abanye abantu phakathi baza expose ukuganga kwabo.
Umnumzana Dumezweni Ngwenya ngumsekeli we-ZANU-PF ubexoxa lapho lo Ezra Chisauspanda we-Studio 7 ekobulawayo. Lizwile ekhuluma ngoMashaba lo mlungisi uthi ibaba iproblem kobulawayo, ibaba ngaqhubanga kuhle ukhetho kodwa sizamile ukuxhumana labo bobabili laba kodwa sehlulekile. Kuharare mutori wedu wenawu Godwin Mangudla akataura one nengo ye-ZANU-PF va try more chikukumende nezvesarudzo idzi.
Tingaiti ma-problems here and there yekuti pane ma-typing error yekuti zita ringe riripo asi ID yemunhu inobva ina pazasi pangoita ka-typing error 1 or 2 people ndonyaya iripo asi as you see turnout yedu iri so high yekuti vanhu vedu vauya kuvhota vakawandisa. Problem yatitaura ndiyo yekuti pangoita typing error here and there asi vanhu vedu vayazovhota. Hapana noise yamboitika, we recorded no violence especially padistrict pangu paMorsi Yabuko district hapana violence yaitika. Ne-information yatikuzwa kubva kune ma-districts handisandambudzwa kuti pane paita problem nekuti vanhu varovana kana kuti macandidates asvika ipapo achirwisana kana kudii, hapana problem yaitika. So far so we don't have a problem in our result. Ipapo taita problem dike kuti vanhu vedu vaungana 7 o'clock yekuti tatakamirira maballot papers edu kuti auye by 7 o'clock. Saka vanhu vanga vamira for a long time. Then maballot edu atangira kusvikira kucommand center kuhivhu vanhu vachizosvika pana 10 o'clock vachizotanga kuti sei vachizotanga kuvhota.
Mo chikukumende vebato re ZANU-PF vachitaura na Godwin Mangudla we-Studio 7 vari muHarare. Now let's take a short break. We'll be right back.
In times of change, when the world seems uncertain and what we hear doesn't reflect what we see, we seek the truth. When we are told only part of the story, we lose trust. In moments of crisis, our dreams, hopes, and wishes for a better tomorrow depends on a free press. At Voice of America, we bring you the stories that people take risks to see. We connect the world and unite it with truth. At Voice of America, we show you the whole picture.
Now back to the Amnesty International human rights findings in Zimbabwe. The report talks of unlawful detentions and killings of people like opposition CCC member Mboneni Ncube, allegedly by ZANU-PF members, and Tawanda Zvinowanda, who died in police custody after being assaulted by the cops. It also talks about arbitrary arrests and detentions. Citing CCC lawmaker Job Sikala, who has been in jail for close to a year now, Amnesty International says, quote, "The right to freedom of peaceful assembly was continuously violated and undermined as police and supporters of the ruling ZANU-PF party disrupted the CCC party's political rallies and attacked its members," close quote. Here is Amnesty International Regional Deputy Director for Southern Africa, Vongai Chikwanda, addressing a press conference in Johannesburg, South Africa today.
So repression is a big problem in Zimbabwe, and I think it's not just the case of Job Sikala. It was 15 other activists who were imprisoned at the same time. And the fact that Job Sikala has not been convicted of any crime is worrying. And your question relates to, I guess, in terms of election reporting or whether there's a de-escalation in violence. At the moment, I think we are documenting the cases of violence that have happened in country in the run-up to the elections. The elections should happen probably in August, or we're not sure because the date has not been set due to various issues that have taken place in country. But what we've seen is obviously a pattern of a clampdown on journalists, on any opposing force, on anyone who expresses any form of dissent. And this just doesn't go to opposition members. It's even within general public, and this is concerning. And this is something that Amnesty has also raised, that the attacks against, we have condemned the attacks against any journalists. We've condemned the attacks against opposition leaders.
Amnesty International Regional Deputy Director for Southern Africa, Vongai Chikwanda, addressing a press conference in Johannesburg, South Africa today. And now to discuss these very important issues, we are joined by Dr. Masimba Mavaza of ZANU-PF in the UK and opposition CCC official here in North America, Mr. Tim Muringai. Let me start. Welcome, gentlemen, and let me start off with Dr. Mavaza. Briefly, give us an update on the primary elections of your party. When can we expect the final results?
The results are trickling in, but the final results will come as soon as the Politburo sits. The process is that when elections are done, the names will go before the Politburo for verification. So whatever we are getting now is what is on the ground. But the actual verified results will be given as soon as Politburo sits. So there will be no results we get from point A and B until Politburo has set. And again, this shows our democratic way, there's always, it's quite exciting because there are a lot of new faces who have made it into the sold tickets to represent their constituencies in Parliament. So it's quite exciting for us.
And when does the Politburo sit, Mr. Dr. Mabaza, tomorrow?
Initially, Politburo was supposed to sit this week, but because there have been some few constituencies where complaints have been raised and are looked into, probably it might be delayed to Friday. But it was planned for tomorrow. But until it's confirmed before 9 o'clock tomorrow morning, for now, it could be tomorrow, but it could be anytime by Friday.
You are saying these elections clearly indicate that you're a Democratic Party, Dr. Mabaza, but many people are seeing chaos. All these people in different parts of Zimbabwe complaining that the elections were rigged, that they couldn't find their names, they were not able to vote. And others also saying the ballot papers, there were no names. People had to write names, literally. And clearly, many ZANU-PF, supporters are not happy.
Yeah, it could be the process which people can complain about, or the process which has changed, where you are supposed to put an X, you have to put a full name. This is all because of logistics, like stationery and everything, printing and other things, which might have delayed. But that does not affect the democratic primary concern that we have to choose a person to represent us per constituents. So the choosing went on. How they were chosen is entirely a secret ballot. But how did we reach to the secret ballot? It might have problems along the way. It was not a perfect way, but it is a democratic way. It was something. So in any case, we should appreciate people would always have a complaint. And we are not saying this was the best. It was not perfect. There were complaints. They are still there, but it was democratic.
Thank you there, Dr. Mabaza. Please do stay on the line. Let me bring in Mr. Muringai on this. I know these primaries have nothing to do with you, Mr. Muringai, as the CCC, but from your standpoint, you're observing, what are you seeing?
I think we have already noticed that ZANU-PF is a confused bunch. Like we've seen, we're in the IT age. I'm not sure why we're having so many problems when we could always computerize everything and make it easier for anybody to vote and dispute any votes. And, if they have any problems, once you computerize everything, it's easier and it's faster. So the other thing that I don't understand, it's a ZANU-PF issue. Why do they have people voted in and then the Politburo has to confirm? So that's a kind of funny right there. We don't understand, but it's their problem.
Mm-hmm. And now let's move on to the issue of human rights, Mnumzana Muringai, because we saw the Amnesty International today saying that the Zimbabwean government continues to violate human rights. And only last week, we saw the U.S. State Department also releasing a similar report saying that all is not well in Zimbabwe when it comes to the issue of human rights. Ungathini ngalokhu Mnumzana Muringai, ikakhulu sikhangela umbiko wethu eAmerica last week sesibona iAmnesty International layo namhla ithi hayi amalungelo ayephulwa nguhulumende kamongameli mnangakho.
Ngiyabonga Mnumzana. Into esiyibona lapha iZANU-PF vele ayitshintshanga from 1980. Siyakwazi ukuthi vele they have a trail of blood from the history of our country. Into eqakathekile lapha is ukuthi khathesi sesiya kukhetho abantu bonke abekhaya beZimbabwe, wherever you are, ZANU-PF ibuya lama inputs lama gift lani lama shower lama cap ama t-shirt thatha nini but mase lingene endaweni yokuvota i-voting yakho i-vote is-secret votela i-CCC.
Ndiuye kwamuri Dr. Mavaza. Amnesty International iri kuti hurumende yeZANU-PF iri kuenderera mberi ichityora kodzero dzevanhu. Svondo rapfuura last week takaona US State Department ichibudisa gwaro rine mafindings mamwe chete. Hanzi hurumende yenyu yeZANU-PF, hurumende yavaMnangagwa, iri kuramba ichityora kodzero dzevanhu. Muri kuzvionawo sei?
Toti Amnesty International kunyora kwavo kwavaita whatever their findings are kunyora kwevanhu vaitwa misled nevanhu vavakabvunza. On the ground, Zimbabwe is enjoying the most peaceful moments it has ever enjoyed before during independence, and therefore hatina nyaya yekuti munhu angati vanhu vari kutsakatika vanhu vari kuurayiwa. Yes, pakaitika dambudziko 2 years ago pakafa mbongenyube paya anga ari maskirmishes. Hondo yakatangwa nevanhu veCCC pakabayirwa nemapfumo, and it was unfortunate mumwe munhu akafa. We are talking of one death in an election period. Dzimwe nyika dzine ma20 ma30 kuNigeria over 50, but Nigeria haisi kunzi iri mukategori yevanhu vanotwara mutemo. Zvinongoratidza kuti kune vari mushishi rekuda kurwisa hurumende yeZimbabwe, and kana tikada zvakanaka sei havazvione, because mupfungwa dzavo vari kungoda kubvisa hurumende. Chavo chavanoti human rights are respected, it's only when the government of Zimbabwe is removed, and that is unfortunate because vana veZimbabwe, hurumende yeZimbabwe yakavhoterwa nevana veZimbabwe. Kana vakaramba vachivhotera hurumende yeZimbabwe yakaumbwa neZANU-PF, taramba tichingotonga sekunda kunoita vana veZimbabwe. Saka as long as vana veZimbabwe vachifara kuti munyika medu mune runyararo, hatina hondo, hatina dambudziko, hatina vari kutsakatika, vana chamisa variko havasi kutsidzidzirwa, vana biti variko, vanenge vapara mhosva saJob Scala vanosungwa voenda mumatare nanhasi zvaperi mukoti. Saka hakuna chatingataura kuti Zimbabwe iri kutyora kodzero dzevanhu. Saka this document is very unfortunate, disappointing, and deeply depressing.
Thank you. Asi US State Department yakaburisawo gwaro rine mafindings mamwe chete, but please do hold your horses. And pavanhu vakashaya, there is also more blessing Ali enengo yeCCC. Of course, I know the circumstances surrounding her death. Vamwe may argue that it wasn't politically motivated. And there's also Tawanda Zinowanda, who died in police custody on 17 August. Last year, Mshure Mekuruwa nemapurisa. Tine mtereri silomlalele cingweni, mtereri wakadi yako. Hello, mtereri?
Hello?
I think we have lost... Hello, mtereri, muripo ere?
Hello, Magadi?
Takasimba baba. Tipe ofungwa zenyu nenyaya iri mudariro.
Hello?
Ndati takasimba tokurukura nezvema-human rights, hanzi hurumende yeZANU-PF iri kutyora kodzero dzevanhu. Tipewo pfungwa dzenyu.
Nyaya yema-human rights has been going on for over a decade in Zimbabwe. So the government seems is kutora a bold stance kuti igadzirise nyaya iyoyo. As every year tikuramba tichingona violence ari kuitwa to the opposition members, kusungwa political violence neimwe mishonga yakasiyana-siyana kumaruzevha uko nemadhorobha. vakadai vaikwanisa kuti pambonyatsvetwa freedom of expression, maybe taigona kuti nyika iende mberi panyaya idzodzo dzemhirizhonga. But it seems vanotaura nekuti vachiti vari kugadzirisa, asi ukazoona towards maelections mhirizhonga iyoyo inoramba ichikwira. Saka senyika tiri kuita nhano mbiri mberi, nhano mbiri kumashure. Hatina kwatiri ndakangomira panzvimbo 1 panyaya iyoyo.
Aiwa, tinotenda Mutereri, thank you very much. And for those just joining us, this is Live Talk, The Connection. We are coming to you live from Studio 7 at the Voice of America in Washington. And tonight we are talking human rights violations in Zimbabwe as alleged by Amnesty International in a report out today. The U.S. State Department also released its own report last week alleging the same. We are streaming live on our Facebook pages, VOA Shona, VOA Studio 7, and VOA Ndebele. We are also live on YouTube at VOA Zimbabwe. As we wrap up, Mnumzana Muringai ngiphenduke kuwe. Umzwilu ubaba uMabazo yakhuluma ukuthi hayi amalungelo ayahlonitshwa eZimbabwe. Kubotshwa abantu abafana labo sikhala kuphela abephula umthetho.
Hayi uMabazo ule esithi ngesilungu selective recognition. Uyena ufuna ukurecognize into abaziyenzayo, but ekhohle ukuthi the whole top leadership of MDCA ikathesi CCC babe botshiwe bonke from VP BT, VP Maikore, spokes Fatai Mahere, all these low MP Godfrey Stole from Stungwiza. So, and then they shot at the President Chamisa's car. The bullets damaged his vehicle and all these other things. So he has what we are calling selective recognition. There's peace in Zimbabwe. If all these bodies from the State Department to Amnesty International are telling you that things are not correct in Zimbabwe, I think Dr. Mawaza, as a fundi, should acknowledge that they have done their research and they know what they are talking about.
Vamavaza tivharire chirongwa pachidimbo. Pindurai tinzwe hanzi muri kutaura makumbo enyoka. Chokwadi ndechekuti hurumende yenyu iri kutyora kodzero dzevanhu.
In conclusion, chekutanga ndechekuti vamuringai tinovaregerera hedu nekuti hurumende yeZimbabwe haisi kutyora kodzero dzevanhu. Uyezve the fact yekuti the Americans and the Amnesty International vabudisa document rakafanana zvinongoreva kuti vanga vachishare manotes avo, otherwise they have not gone on the ground, they have not talked to the people, they have not seen the people, they have only relied on the news very biased. And pekupedzisira ndaida kuti ndingokomenda point yataura navamuringai kana tanga taikanganwa kwanzi navamuringai ZANU-PF is a confused party vachikomenda
10 seconds Dr. Mabasa.
Vachikomenda on the primary elections. Vamuringai have forgotten kuti ZANU-PF has actually done primary elections which his party is running away from. Saka Democratic Party inoita ma-elections despite kuti anonetsa, anovhiringika, but anofamba.
Thank you very much, Dr. Mabaza. Let's leave it there. And that brings us to the end of our show. We would like to thank our guests, Dr. Masimba Mabaza of ZANU-PF and Mr. Tim Muringai of the CCC. Of course, thank you also to our listeners and viewers at home. Let's make another date tomorrow. I'm your host, Tungamili Nkomo. Kuna Zimbabwe.